Stardate 57585.4. Admiral Elder has asked the Tian An Men to check up on the Narendra colony, a colony located quite a long distance from our current location. The Admiral asked that we make contact and see if the colony is in need of any aid or any supplies. He was a bit vague in his request, but I'm hoping that we'll get some clarity after we meet up with the colony. Science has also determined that a series of solar flares in nearby systems is making subspace communication impossible around the colony, and that communications will remain impossible until it clears. Well, I hope we'll know what we're getting into soon enough. End log.
Great. And then we'll start the scene with Captain DeGrasse walking onto the bridge of Tian An Men.
On ETA to Narendra colony.
About 3 hours, sir.
It's all yours, Captain.
Thank you, Commander. How's the ship? How's the crew?
Seems to be going. All seems to be well, Captain.
Good. Need to actually see who's on my bridge here. Okay, Dagon's a lieutenant. Lieutenant Dagon, could you, well, do any research that you could on the Narendra colony? History, current situation, leadership. Really dig up anything that we can get. So who would like to play Lieutenant Dagon tonight?
I'll go on ahead and roll for Dagon.
This was to learn about the colony.
Yeah, just to dig up anything on the history.
All right, this will be a Control Commander Con difficulty 1. So this is by the ship's computers and whatever you use. Probably computers command.
I can roll for the ship.
It looks like Dagon's character sheet is basically not filled in.
Let me see
Yeah,
where
it
they're
is.
at.
It's filled in.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
Must be. Oh, there we go. Now it's populating.
Slow intranet.
Yeah. You said control science?
Control with Commander Khan.
Uh, what's difficulty?
Just one.
Okay. I'm gonna roll this flat.
Gain a momentum.
Captain, it appears all information about Narendra Colony has been classified. I don't have the appropriate access to gain that information.
Huh. And what level has it been classified at?
Level 12.
GM, I assume that's above anybody on the ship, correct?
Correct. It's
Cool.
like Admiral or above.
Gotcha. Oh, coupled with the Admiral's reticence to be too forthcoming with information, I guess that makes sense. Lieutenant Commander Johnson, the Admiral had mentioned the solar flares were interfering with communications in the area, and that they would be expected to continue, at least for a while, and continue interfering with communications there. Is there anything that we can do to, I guess, first of all, make sure that the ship is in great shape to withstand solar flares, and then B, if there's anything that we can do to boost our communications equipment to, well, see if we can hail the colony when we get there.
Well, I have engineering and security, so I can certainly try to boost the signal, Captain. I'm not an expert on flares by any chance, but I'll certainly look into it.
Well, by all means, if you need the aid of Lieutenant Dagan, just feel free to call her over.
Okay. Oh, okay. It looks like short range communication is still functional. It's just subspace is not is being interfered with.
So no distance communication. Got it. All right.
Is there any way to maybe boost that with like boost that with a communication disk or whatever? or use a
Probably not yet because you don't know the nature of the interference.
okay, yeah. Have to find out what it is first.
Yeah, the way I picture it is it's like where the subspace relay is, that
Mhm.
system is experiencing solar flares.
Oh, okay.
So like subspace communications in this part of space are down.
Oh,
if that makes sense.
the whole area is space. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so every ship in this area is basically short range communication only.
Can we? I guess we can try to find out how long the flares might occur or something to see if there's a future break in them.
I could give you that. I could probably give you an insight science roll. Insight or
Okay.
reason science. And maybe computer science.
Well, my science isn't very good, so I wonder if the science officer would be willing to help with that. I only have a 1 in science.
Well, the captain says yes, by all means. Feel free to request any assistance.
Yeah. If Dan can take lead on that, and I'll just try to assist if possible.
And what's the role for that?
I think it was insight science. Or,
Insight or reason science.
Yeah, reason. Okay.
Insight or reason. Would sensor operations or astrophysics or even research apply?
No.
Okay. Spin the momentum.
Gain 2.
It appears that the solar flares are expected to last approximately 48 hours, Captain.
And GM, remind me the ETA.
Probably about 2.5 at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, seems like we'll have a bit of a communications outage. Definitely for the first chunk of time that we're there. All right. Well, I hope everyone is rested up and prepared and ready to go.
Aye, Captain.
Science, when we drop out of warp near the system, go ahead and give us a full scan of the system right off the bat. Something seems a little
Understood,
fishy.
Captain.
Thank you. Something seems a little fishy to me about this.
All right. I think we'll head to the expedition for a little bit. If the Captain Prax wants to give their log.
Considering I just finished it.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry I was late on the notes. It's been a day.
You switch in the map.
Oh, yeah, probably. This one will work.
Captain's log, stardate 57585. The expedition is still on course for Deep Space 17 with the Federation Council members whose name is being redacted for security reasons. Admiral Keeson has decided to join us on this trip back to Deep Space 17. A bit unorthodox, I may say, but orders are orders. I have asked the council member and the Admiral to dinner at the captain's mess later this evening. And given Commander Casey's new assignment, I will need to request a new first officer or promote from within the crew. Currently, Commander Krim has voiced his feelings on the matter. I am hesitant to assign him this position permanently given his recent actions. He is without a doubt a fantastic engineer, but his bedside manner needs some work. I feel rushing him to such a position may harm his career rather than aid it. With any luck, we will arrive at DS-17 in a timely manner and get back to our usual assignments. End Captain's log.
All right, we're actually going to head to the mess hall where Councilman Neone is regaling the senior staff with some stories. So there I was with Lieutenant Camaro. Batavians on one side, Nazicans on the other. Weapons drawn all around. I turned to the lieutenant and I said, "Don't you wish now we had that case of Saurian brandy?" And all the rest of the crew chuckles at that little joke he gives. I do want to thank you all, however. It's been good to be a part of a crew again. It's been several years since I've been allowed the opportunity to communicate with a crew of a Starfleet vessel again.
Well, sir, I think I can speak for everyone when I say it's good having you aboard too. Good to hear some news stories for a change. He kind of chuckles.
I'm sure several of you have old war stories to tell. A ship and crew this decorated?
I believe most of us do have old war stories, but most of them would be inappropriate for current company.
Oh, you don't have to think of me as a council member when I'm on the ship. Just think of me as part of the crew.
Please, council member, even though you may consider yourself as part of the crew, we still have to respect the office that you hold.
And nudges the crewman next to him. I guess someone's booking for that first officer spot, huh?
Ben chuckles at that. Well, Krim, on that subject, uh, what do you think? Do you want it?
To the captain, I mean, my duty is to do my best in whatever assignment I'm given. If it's to remain as chief engineer while acting first officer, that's perfectly fine with me. If I get the first officer role, that's fine with me too. It could go either way, in my opinion. I have it's whatever the captain thinks is best.
Starfleet could do with more officers like you, Commander. We have lost far too many good people to recent wars, recent events.
Agreed.
And who knows, Krim, with a diplomatic answer like that, there could be a future place on the Starfleet Council for you. Federation Council.
Grim's gonna just slightly chuckle and be like, no, 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 thank you. Politics is not my game.
Well, if all goes well with the election, you might be looking at the next Federation president. That would open up my spot.
Please, please, council member, you flatter me.
I'm sure I could put in a good word.
I'll go where Starfleet needs me. Tell me, council member, I've heard a rumor among the engineering corps. While not anytime soon, is it true that the expedition is slated for decommissioning?
What?
Where have you heard that rumor? This is a new ship, is it not?
I would
As
also
far
like
as
to
I
know.
know, it could be massive overhaul or something. I don't know, but there's a rumor among the engineering corps that says decommissioning.
What were you trying to say, Wagner?
Oh, I was just saying I would also like to know this. What in response to the person saying asking where he heard it.
As far as I heard, there are no plans to scrap the expedition. Like I said, this is still top of the line technology. Didn't you just receive upgrades?
True, but then there's also ships out there like the Prometheus class ship that are far more advanced as well. And the Sovereign class.
Well, wasn't the original expedition a sovereign?
True, the original expedition was a Sovereign, but when you take into consideration the exploits of the Enterprise, for example, Captain Picard flies that thing to its limits.
Now, while it is true that we are trying to phase out some of the older vessels in favor of the newer Luna class, we just launched a new Vesta class starship as well, with a few more in dry docks. The Intrepid class still has a vital mission.
Well, like I said, Councilman, it's a rumor that's been going around, and you know how rumors are. They tend to get exaggerated.
One would do well not to put too much stock into rumors, Commander.
True, but it's always nice to have them confirmed or torn apart.
As far as I'm concerned, Commander, the crew of the expedition are safe.
Hear about it. I like this ship.
And there's no
Ew.
reason to think that you'll be going anywhere else. But oh my, I lost track of the time. I believe I have a dinner date with your captain. I should go freshen up for that. If you'll excuse me.
Of course, Councilman.
And he leaves the senior staff.
Well, it certainly was a rumor.
Yes, it
Well,
was, for which I am really grateful.
well, if something happened
Running
this
the way I
year,
want
I
'em.
might-
Trey, what was that? Somebody was roboting.
wasn't me.
I am unsure. There were more than one voice overlapping.
Yeah, I tried to say something, but Jim was still talking, so I stopped. I mean, was going to say that if the expedition gets tanked, she might have to go serve on a burning parade or something.
Well, I can certainly say that wouldn't be excited to go serving on an Oberth again. So you can imagine being a science officer on an Oberth is not as exciting as the current ship.
Oh, certainly not. Well, it's good to know that we're in no danger of being decommissioned.
All right, I think we'll head back to the captain's ready room.
Enter. Admiral.
Captain.
She stands up at attention.
At ease, Captain, at ease. I'm in your space.
Sits
How are
back
we
up.
progressing towards 17?
Currently, we are on schedule. Should arrive there at the time frame you requested.
Good, good. Like to express our gratitude between me and the councilman, Captain, for you taking this long detour to give us a ride.
My pleasure. Though it would have been easier in one of those fancy new Vesta class starships. I hear they have quantum slipstream drives.
You looking to get a better ship, Captain?
No, just merely joking, Admiral. This is a fine ship and a fine crew. Couldn't ask for much more.
I mean, I know there's a few more rolling off the lines. I could put in a word for you.
I think this ship still has many more years of service to give to the Federation before she's decommissioned.
She is a fine ship, Captain, with a fine crew. No doubt, in large part to your leadership abilities.
Thank you, Admiral.
Well, Captain, I won't keep you. I just wanted to get a quick status update.
No problem. If there's anything you need, just let myself know or Commander Krim.
Thank you, Captain. And the Admiral would walk out. All right, I think we'll head back to the Tian An Men. If I could find where the bridge is. All right, we'll have you dropping out right out of. Have you drop out of warp right at the edge of the system.
Scanning the system now, Captain.
Give me a. We will enter a new scene, and this will be a reason science. Difficulty 2, assisted by ship sensor science.
And take a momentum.
And we just need sensor science.
Okay. Well, that's not me. Huh.
Gain 2.
Captain, the only thing out of the ordinary that I'm picking up in this system is a debris cloud in orbit of the M-class planet.
Can you ascertain the nature of this debris cloud? Is it a
Moment,
ship?
Captain.
All right, this will be either reason or insight with either science or engineering. Difficulty, I'm going to make this a diff 3.
One threat, two momentum.
And then sensor science. Man, the ship is kicking ass tonight.
I
Gain 2
know.
more.
Captain, it appears to be the remains of a Jem'Hadar corvette.
Oh, what now? Sorry, Captain.
No worries. What would a Jem'Hadar corvette be doing here?
And that's the standard attack craft, correct?
Trying to find a picture of it. It's a small one.
Okay, yeah, so it's the one I'm thinking of. No, it's the bigger one. I was thinking the attack ship. Give me a second.
Yeah, it's the debris of the smaller one.
The attack ship. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that big hulking monstrosity, that command ship. No, it's the smaller. I think they're called fighters or something. Attack fighters.
Yeah, it's attack fighter.
And how far away from Jem'Hadar space are we?
The other side of the wormhole, Captain.
That's what I thought. All right. Let's go to yellow alert. I don't like seeing a Jem'Hadar ship in the system, and I especially don't like seeing a completely destroyed Jem'Hadar ship in the system. Everyone, let's keep our eyes out. Orgel, take
Aye,
us into
Captain.
the planet.
Yellow alert.
Yes, yellow alert.
Set the ship to yellow alert. And,
All right, what are you guys doing?
The ship is going to yellow alert, and then Orgel should be taking us closer to the planet.
All right, taking it nice and easy toward the planet. Orgel eventually pilots the ship to a high orbit of the planet. I would imagine is what you're looking for.
Correct. Lieutenant, could you please give us a scan of the planet?
Diff 2 reason science.
Alrighty, one momentum. Nah.
Then ship sensor science.
I just rolled it.
Oh, it was the miss.
I can reroll it if you want me to.
I mean, if they had technical expertise, you could.
It's true.
I don't know if they do or not.
No, because this is Dagon's, I think, first activation.
No, it should be their second.
Oh, then I can give her technical expertise.
I mean, you could. It is very good.
Yeah, why not? Reroll it.
Or you could reroll yours. You get the choice.
Yeah, let's reroll the ship. We have it based on the science roll. Cool.
Well, gain momentum. Yeah, technical expertise is really good. It's like if you use the ship's sensors or computers, it lets you reroll, and it could be yours or it could be the ship's. It's so good.
Oh, nice.
All right, you're scanning the planet. That's a thing I should give you information for.
Captain, I have the colony on sensors, but I'm not detecting any life signs.
Huh. Are you seeing any power sources on the surface?
That would be for a momentum.
Does appear it's offline apparently. Putting heat.
Oh, sorry, Krim. You were roboting out.
The power source appears to be offline.
But I'm assuming the buildings are intact. No evidence of violence, any attack?
For a momentum.
Ooh.
There are signs of weapons discharge in and around the colony, but I can't tell you what kind.
So weapons discharge. Can you tell if it was without a momentum spend from the surface or as part of an attack on the surface?
Like small arms.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like they weren't bombed from orbit, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to determine. Lieutenants, I'm assuming the atmosphere is breathable, no worry of contaminants or anything toxic to us.
Mhm. Nothing abnormal from an M-class planet.
Right. Thank you. He'll turn to the commander. Well, Commander, I think it's worth it at this point to see what else we can find out. Might be worth taking a team down there and seeing what's going on.
I agree, Captain.
All right, well, please lead the away team. Take anything you need.
Of course, Captain. So, as far as people are concerned, I'm gonna take a probably Cathreth, just to have somebody from security, because I don't think we've got an active security player, or do we?
That would be Johnson. She
Oh,
is
okay.
a security/engineer. But
You've also got Joseph Allen, Chief of Security.
I totally missed you. Sorry about that. Okay, so definitely bringing Alan. Casey, unfortunately, is not available. Uh, so I'll probably bring Alan and Johnson. Probably a science character just in case. I guess. Dagon, I guess, because I don't see another character we could bring.
Doesn't Prax have a doctor character?
Yeah, Odutan is the chief medical officer.
I believe they
Oh.
have good medicine and science skills, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's
That works.
yeah, there's no reason for 5 on the away team.
Pardon? Ah, gotcha. Yeah. So Odutan, Johnson, and Allen. Myself is 4. And then as a 5th, well, we've already got an engineer, a security person. I can double the security if needed. So I guess Dagon would be the 5th, just so we have somebody for science, in case we run into something sciencey. Should be a nice, well-rounded away team. Any objections?
None from me. Yeah.
Any additional gear?
All right, while you guys are talking about gear, I figure you could do that in Discord. I'm going to head back to the expedition, where it is dinner time in the captain's mess. Uzura will speak up. Captain, thank you for inviting us to dinner. I've been looking forward to this all day.
My pleasure, Councilman. I hope your meal is satisfactory.
Sure, anything you have prepared for us will be good, Captain. Speaking of which, what are you delighting us with tonight?
I am totally blanking on this. So, since you are dying on Earth so much, I thought a cuisine from Trill might be appropriate.
Sounds delightful, Captain. Trillius Prime is one of the bedrocks of the Federation. I don't think I've had any of their cuisine, though.
Well, there's a first for everything. So, I've heard rumors around the ship that you plan on, are running for Federation president.
Little more than rumors at this point, Captain. I believe it is a full-blown campaign.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
So far, the polls are looking good. Just got to get through the first couple of debates, do some campaigning down at 17. I don't know. I might be a lock, Captain.
Well, hopefully, like this trip, your campaign runs smoothly.
Well, so far so good, although that Bajoran Ori is giving me a run for my money. Very popular among the younger generations.
You have to, pardon me, Councilman. I'm not really familiar. I don't partake in politics. Find it messy and, well, I'll just say I have a couple of bad runs with a few politicians in the past.
Present company excluded, of course.
President
He kind of
company
smirks.
President.
Although at times I have to agree with you, Captain, politics are messy. They are sometimes a necessary evil.
Well, I'll leave that in your hands. I, for one, like just exploring.
Could imagine it's a good feeling to be out in open space, not have to worry about the hidden dangers lying behind every star.
Well, that's the point of exploring, is to ensure there are no hidden dangers along every star. Along with other scientific endeavors.
I'm sure the captain doesn't want to talk politics with you all night, Uziro. Yes, you're probably right. I'm sure the captain has many other things on her plate.
Well, at the moment, honestly, not a whole lot. Besides, a little girl who's probably staying up all night waiting for me to come back to my quarters to read her a book.
How is your daughter doing, Captain?
She's doing well. Which one that asked that? Was that Geeson or?
Yeah, Keeson.
Do you have family, Admiral?
Yes, I have a daughter of my own, as it so happens. Serves in Far Starfleet too, currently on special assignment.
Well, you must be very proud.
Immensely.
So I take it you're married?
Unfortunately, no. Widowed, I believe is the term.
And as you, Councilman, are you a family man yourself?
I do feel that families are a strong bedrock to any individual. I unfortunately lost my wife in the wars.
Sorry to hear that.
All that matters is we won. Sometimes that's the only comfort you can take, is that her sacrifice was not in vain. Of course, it's up to people like me to ensure that we stop splitting families in these senseless wars.
I'm curious how you plan on doing that. Fortunately, that's a unfortunate side effect of war. Many families have, well, perished because sons and daughters went off to battle.
It's my personal opinion that the best way to ensure peace is to show a proper show of force at all times, to show that you are not to be taken lightly. Who is going to attack the Federation when we can bring the entire strength of our members upon our enemies? That's why I want to build more ships, bigger ships like the Vesta class, more Akiras, more Prometheuses, and train up the crews to pilot these ships.
Well, last time I checked, recruitment's been down because of the Dominion War and all of our, well, all the conflict that's been happening. Many future generations feel it they don't wish to waste their life.
That's why I'm glad there are ships like the Expedition out here, Captain, showing them that the Federation, that Starfleet, is not all war and death, that it could be something greater. Mysteries of the universe could be at your fingertips.
Well, I'm sure I won't be solving all of them in my lifetime, but hopefully a few. So, by your candor, Councilman, I take it you served in Starfleet?
Yes, many, many years ago. As a security officer on a small vessel.
Quite a big leap going from a security officer to a Federation council member to future Federation president.
It's definitely been a long road, Captain.
Well, so I'll relish if you tell me a tale or two of your time in Starfleet.
I'm sure I have a tale or two to tell. And I think at this point, we'll head back to the Tian An Men. I see I forgot to clear the Theater of the Mind from last game. All right, we have Commander Rael going. Joseph Allen, yay. Dr. Johnson. And Dagan?
Hmm.
All right, what equipment are we bringing?
I think we agreed on type 3s, but I'm not sure about body armor.
Yeah, we did.
All right, so everyone's bringing a Type 3. Everyone's getting body armor.
Yep.
How much threat do I get?
Too much.
I'll waive the opportunity cost because you guys do have time to prepare, but not the escalation cost.
Yeah, you only take the escalation once, so.
Yeah, so what is that? 3, 4? I can't remember off the top of my head.
4. 2 for type 3s, 2 for body armor.
Alrighty. You have your Type 3s and you have your body armor.
Excellent.
All right, and then are you guys beaming down?
Yeah. May as well.
All right, you beam down to the center of the colony. And a ghastly smell just fills the air, the smell of death, of dead bodies all around. As you look around, you see hundreds of dead Jem'Hadar, from men Jem'Hadar, women Jem'Hadar apparently, and also children. Each one with multiple phaser wounds, from what you could tell. As the smell of rotten decay just overwhelms your nostrils.
Was this a Jim Hadar colony?
It's a massacre.
Indeed, but what happened here?
The doctor's gonna start scanning the bodies.
See if there are any survivors. If there are, we'll need to set up triage.
All right, what are you scanning for, Doctor?
Cause of death on at least the majority of them, if I can.
Give me reason or insight medicine difficulty 1.
Well, investigation for a focus?
I'll take it.
Take a threat. Because apparently I made this character cautious.
Gain a momentum.
The ready to gate shows that the time of death was 6 months ago. It would appear that all the wounds and what's left of the tissue appears that they were all killed by a phaser set to kill.
Where's the small arms fire coming from then?
GM, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had detected like previous small arms fire, or was that like current small arms?
So that was like small arms damage to the buildings.
Oh, sorry.
Not actual shooting.
Sorry, things were. My sound cut out a couple times, so I heard something about small arms fire, but
Yeah,
not
damage from small arms fire.
Oh, okay. Okay. Scratch that then. Well, I guess we go into investigation mode now then. Figure out what happened here and who killed these people.
Commander, was there any caves detected nearby? There could be maybe survivors hiding out in shelters.
It's a good thought. I will turn to Dagon. Can you scan the area for caves and other things that could be used as makeshift shelters?
Krim, do you mind if I play Dagon on the surface? Okay. Uh, Certainly, sir. And the lieutenant will take out our tricorder and scan.
Uh, let's go reason, science, or con, difficulty 2. You're giving me all this threat, diff 3.
Would sensor operations apply in this situation?
Not for tricorders.
Okay. Darn. You said diff 3, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty. This is gonna be a tough one. Yeah, it doesn't look like she gets a reroll, which makes sense. All right. Yeah, take 3 threat. Rolling 4 dice.
There you go. Got a momentum.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Oops, wrong person.
Commander, I am detecting a cave system approximately half a kilometer to the northeast from here.
All right. Is there what lies between here and there? Any major hazards or obstacles?
Half the town.
Well, looks like rest of the city, Commander, but no other natural features.
Any life signs between here and there? Trying to make sure we're not getting going to walk into an ambush.
Oh, that's smart. GM, did she detect anything on the surface that she didn't detect on the ship?
Life sign wise, no.
Okay. No, Commander. No life signs that I see.
Okay, well, we can investigate here after we've verified whether or not there are any survivors, so let's move out toward the caves.
Commander, permission to contact the ship to start getting medical teams to deal with the bodies.
Granted.
Lieutenant Odutan to Tian An Men.
Tian An Men here.
Captain, we have a lot of dead Jem'Hadar down here. We'd like to request medical teams to start gathering the remains.
Oh.
They're in a pretty
Right.
bad state of decay at this point.
Granted, Doctor. I'll pair the teams up here myself, and we'll get things in order.
Commander, I do have two things for you.
Go ahead.
First off, these buildings here are unmistakably of Federation design. Second, there's too many Jem'Hadar here for a single attack craft. Your suspicions on this being a Jem'Hadar colony might be correct, but if it is, why would they have Federation buildings?
That's a very good question. Let's. Can I ask you to keep a list of those questions? When we come back to investigate, we can keep them top of mind.
Of course.
I would prefer to avoid speculation for now. Can I ask your medical team, doctor, to do their best to preserve any evidence? Whatever happened here was a terrible crime. I want to make sure the perpetrators are brought to justice.
Of course, Commander. I'll order the teams to have them beamed up to the ship for cold storage.
Thank you. With that, I guess we move out.
All right, you're heading toward the caves.
Yes.
Are you doing anything else while you're on the way, or are you just heading straight there?
Where possible, if we encounter anything that would be fragile evidence, I'll act to preserve the evidence.
Okay. Doctor, give me a insight medicine difficulty 3.
Do I have a relevant focus?
Let me see. I don't think so.
2 threat, and then I'll spend the momentum. Rerolling the comp with cautious.
All right. Gain a momentum.
Commander. She kind of taps the commander's shoulder.
I will look over.
I think we're being watched. I'm sensing a deep anger directed towards us.
What direction? Or is that something you can tell?
It's all around us, sir.
All around us, but no life signs. That's interesting.
Not necessarily, Commander. Jem'Hadar active cloaking.
Wow.
Fair enough.
You rolled D12.
Oh, I did. Shit.
That's good. I will give an order to find cover.
Right, before that happens.
Oh god.
You hear rustling out of a nearby bush. And Negan turns around just in time to have a Jem'Hadar weapon thrust right into her arm. Thanks to the body armor and the warning, she was able to block off most of the damage. But appears to be a. But right before the dagger was struck, appears a child Jem'Hadar who stabs Dagon for like a point, I think, of damage.
Dagon will yelp out in pain and instinctively like back up, try to get away.
And we're
Uh,
probably in combat.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll pass to you.
It's a kid, so out of curiosity, would I know how tough Jem'Hadar children are to physically restrain? I don't want to hurt the child.
Probably not. Because by all intents and purposes, Jem'Hadar don't have children.
Mm.
Uh, I would suggest we, or rather,
Alan is going to try and grapple the kid.
that's fair.
All right, it'll be opposed daring security.
Hand-to-hand combat as a focus.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to do 1 momentum 5 threat, I think.
It's a lot of threat.
I know.
I'll use 3 of it. So only take 2.
And I'm re-rolling that complication.
Oh, there it is. All right, so you gain a momentum, and yeah, you're able to successfully grapple and wrestle the child to the ground. As a child yells, "No, get off me, you Federation dogs!"
We're not here to hurt you.
And she's struggling to get off.
Can I
We'll say out of
disarm?
combat.
Okay. I'll grab the child's weapon and pull it away. That way, on the off chance that the child gets free, they can't immediately grab a knife and start cutting people again. Who was it that got stabbed again? Was it Odaton?
Dagon.
Dagon. Gotcha. Doctor, can you check her wound?
I'm already on it, Commander. Is it superficial?
Yeah, a couple passes with a thermal regenerator would be good as new.
She'll be fine, Commander.
Get off me! Let me go! As she tries to kick you in the leg.
We're not here to hurt you.
I'll move up to the child. Are you here alone?
Let me go! Or kill me like the other ones! As they try to kick you this time.
Who killed the others?
You did!
I assure you I did not. What do you mean by you?
Those in your uniform killed us. Let me go! And she kicks you really hard in the knee this time. Was that Johnson? Like it hurts this time. It hurts. It
Would you
like
quit
in the...
doing that? I think it's
Got you.
fairly obvious we're not here to kill you.
Then let me go! He's trying to struggle to get out of your grapple.
And Alan will just let him go.
The child gets up very quick, re-engages the cloak, and runs off into the woods. Back into the bushes they came.
Do you think that was wise?
Maybe not, but
Well, at least we have some idea of what's going on now. The Federation killed these people, and there's something horrible going on.
All that we know for certain is that people wearing Federation uniforms
Well, yes,
killed them.
yeah, it could be anybody. That is true.
Are you still
Anybody could
sensing that
replicate.
anger?
TM.
It's far away now.
It's moved away, but I do still sense it.
I like to look around for any more potential problems.
Yeah, I mean, all your tricorders say you're alone.
Oh, that kind of reminds me of the Klingon heritage. Better look though.
I mean, given the child's state, Commander, I don't think it's wise they should be left on this planet alone.
Should
Agree
probably
with you.
notify the captain. We found one survivor. Might be more.
Dagan will rub her wound and just say, well, hopefully the next ones we encounter will be a little nicer than that one.
Given the circumstances, I don't really blame the child. Much as I'm not happy you got hurt.
I agree, Commander. I can't blame her, but there's also the possibility that there might be other survivors, and now they'll be more curious because we could have killed her and yet we didn't.
Permission for a camping trip. Well, extended study here on the planet, Commander.
What do you mean?
I mean, the child has at least survived 6 months. But if, well, using some passive techniques to show that we're not here to harm them, I think we could eventually maybe get the child to come around and at least talk to us.
So you're saying food, water?
Food and water, perhaps to show that the whoever came here in our uniforms, perhaps burying the dead, might show some significance that we're not here to.
Mm-hmm.
Do the gym had our bury their dead? Want to be respectful of their traditions.
To be honest, Commander, I am not familiar at all with Jem'Hadar customs.
might be wise to ask the Captain DeGrosse what we should do, Commander. Or
Hi.
just notify him of what's going on, in case we do run into trouble.
I'm gonna call up to the ship and ask what, if anything, is known about Jem'Hadar funeral customs. I'll let them know as well that there is a survivor who attacked us and has eluded capture.
Thank you, Commander. We'll do some research and send down from the ship what we know about Jem'Hadar funeral rites. And well, it's good to know that there's at least one survivor on the surface.
Appears to
One,
be a child, Captain.
a child.
Yes. As well, you should be aware the child apparently witnessed the event and says the ones who perpetrated it wore Starfleet uniforms.
Understood. Do you know if this is a Jem'Hadar colony?
The buildings look Starfleet in design, but there are men, women, and children here.
All right, well, noted, and thank you. May go without saying, but Commander, if you deem it necessary, it's the Jem'Hadar. You're definitely authorized to use force, but use your best discretion, and if it's possible, let's try to preserve survivors.
Of course, Captain. This one's a child. I won't prevent our people from defending themselves if attacked again, but I don't want to use deadly force on a child, if at all avoidable.
I agree, Commander. But know this. Even a Jem'Hadar child is likely, well, at least better than I am with a weapon, so be safe.
Of course, Captain.
GM, yeah, the captain will direct, I guess, science, the crew, whoever would be the person to do the research, to dig up Jem'Hadar funeral rites and send those down to the away team.
Yeah, I have no idea what those would be.
Yeah.
So if anyone finds anything online, we could just go ahead and go with that.
I don't think there is
Basically,
any.
yeah, basically, I don't think there is any either. We don't have any documented information on that. But it is known that before Jem'Hadar go into battle, they basically have this ritual saying where they're already dead. So I don't know.
Victory brings life and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea what their tradition is, so.
Probably nothing. They're dead.
Yeah. But burying them according to Federation tradition would probably show some sign of respect to them. So,
I mean, if it was a Klingon body, it'd be easy.
yeah.
Well, then in that case, lacking if the ship is not able to pull together information on the funeral rites, then we'll just hold a Federation style funeral rite. Non-denominational and all that.
All right, so what are we doing?
Fully still heading toward those. Well, question. I'm gonna ask if the anger you were sensing is headed toward the caves.
I believe so, Commander.
All right. Well, let's head toward the caves then. We can, unless you feel, Doctor, that a different approach is needed or beneficial.
I think
I
a
think
show of weapons would be ill-advised. It may child may assume that we are there to harm her.
sense. What about food? Is Jem'Hadar biology compatible with most other species' diets? I imagine their nutrient solution must be running low, if not running out.
GM?
Give me an insight medicine to notice something. Difficulty 2.
Xenobiology?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a momentum.
Pardon me. Sorry.
Gain 2.
Hmm?
I've going over my tricorder readings from earlier. I've noticed that the Geminars that we scanned earlier do not seem to require Ketracel white. That is, I believe that was the substance used to not only drug the Jem'Hadar through use of control by the Dominion, but as well as a source of substance for them. And given that they don't need Ketracel white, it's possible that they require nourishment through other sources, through the usual means.
Interesting. All right. So they're not on the white. That's good. All right, so then let's replicate some food and see if some sustenance and kindness gets us further than wrestling did.
Of course, Commander, if you don't mind, I'll return to the ship and get the variety of food.
Of course.
Odoton to Tian An Men, 1 to beam up.
All right, what are we doing?
The doctor's going to get food, and we're delaying going to the keys until we have the food. I would suggest we break up into, we do an organized search of the buildings in the immediate area and look for clues as to what might have happened here. I mean, aside from the massacre. Who did it, that sort of stuff.
All right, let me know what you guys are wanting to investigate, and we'll do rolls based on that.
Unless anyone else has ideas, I would suggest we start with the tactics used in the massacre, because an entire settlement of Jem'Hadar is not going to be easy to overpower like this, so...
Yeah,
whoever...
that's just what I was thinking. Possible assault point for whoever attacked, natural choke points that they would probably use, things like that.
Yeah.
All right, someone give me an insight security, difficulty 2.
That's... Oh boy. Well, that's... Would my focus and infiltration apply?
No.
Okay. What about survival?
No.
No, okay.
Can I assist with it?
Yeah.
I will assist.
Take 1 threat.
Bear with me. Inside security. What was the difficulty again? Sorry.
Just 2. But if you're assisting, you just roll 1 dice.
All right.
All right, gain 3.
Excellent.
All right, so from what you can tell, it would appear that based off of like some of the small arms fire damage on the buildings, that a group beamed into on one of the edges and basically just started moving with overwhelming firepower through the entirety of the colony, shooting everything in their path. You do notice that the shooting did get more controlled around 2 certain buildings. Almost as if they were trying to minimize the damage to those specific buildings.
With the layout of the colony, what would those 2 buildings be representing?
The one houses the generator, the power generator. The other one you're not sure.
All right. Why don't we investigate those 2 buildings then?
Well, that one's going to be power supply. I'm more curious about this other one.
Sounds good. Let's go take a look at it. It was spared for a reason, so why?
All right. So you travel through the town pretty uneventfully, and you make your way to the building. Obviously, the building is dark. It's more or less like a warehouse. But you slide open the door, and it's pitch black inside. You turn on the flashlights you have, and you can kind of make out something on the floor, but you're not quite sure what it is. It seems to cover, like in rows, the entirety of the building.
Regret this, but I'm gonna move closer and get a closer look at it.
All right. This
Same
would need
here.
to be a roll to recognize what it is. It's probably going to be an insight engineering. I'll take insight command as well.
I will do insight command if it has to be me that makes the roll.
It could be anybody, because I would imagine you all walk in and are looking at this.
Okay.
You guys can assist each other.
What's difficulty?
Since I have all this lovely threat, and since trying to identify this, I'm going to make it a diff 4.
Oh.
I have a grand total of 12, so I'm guessing somebody else is going to be better than me at that.
I have a 13.
What's better?
12 or 11, depending on what. Well, engineering is an 11. Insight engineering.
All right. I will assist.
I can do insight command and assist somebody.
Yeah, I will assist as well, I think.
Sounds like Alan's leading. I'll spend 3 momentum for this. Ooh. That's not good.
You spent momentum?
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
I'd like to spend my determination on the mission comes first to re-roll 3.
Yep.
Ready?
And
Oh, and does my investigation focus play?
Yeah, I'll apply it here, yeah.
I will spend 3 more momentum, regain your determination.
Thank you.
Exo powers activate.
All right, so you're out of momentum. Unfortunately, I think you still only have 3.
Oh,
Yeah, that's only 3.
they can assist with this?
Yeah, all of you can.
Okay.
Come on, Dagan.
Here's hoping.
So
So
need a
it's
success.
insight, commander engineering, correct?
Yes.
So definitely insight engineering. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
All right,
Well,
one
that's-
question for everybody. Are there any veterans of the Dominion War in the group?
You probably could classify Alan as one. He has, depending upon how long ago it was, he has the rank that it would put him in Starfleet at the time.
So, Rael was originally part of the Bajoran resistance versus Cardassian occupation, so I'm not sure if you would count that or not.
Probably not.
After Bajor joined the Federation, he transferred into Starfleet.
Yeah, probably not.
Fair enough.
It's possible that Ming was serving with her father on a Klingon for the parade during it. Since that involved, DS9 type
Yeah,
of.
I'll give this to you at I'll succeed at cost here. You're trying to identify this. Obviously, you're trying to do this in the dark. You're trying to rack your brains about what you're actually seeing here. When it suddenly hits you, even though you're not quite sure, this kind of looks like Jem'Hadar. What were they be called? Maturation chambers, maybe? Breeding
Oh,
pods?
a
The
hatchery?
cloning tanks.
Yeah. Only all of the vital components have been removed, leaving just their stands. So like the pods themselves, all the computers and wiring have been salvaged, just leaving their bases.
So somebody was removing, or somebody had bred a whole bunch of Jem'Hadar here for some reason.
Either that, or the assault team was here specifically for that equipment.
Mm.
And if they took, it's just the stands here, they took everything. This is not good.
So the ones that perpetrated the genocide, we don't know if they were the ones that created them as well. So it can be two different things, or different groups, or the same. And then the ones who did the genocide took all the equipment, so that means that they might be trying to do it again. Somewhere else.
Or if they know how to make the white, they might be trying to breed their own army.
That too, yes.
That's my working theory, Commander. Bear with me here. My train of thought is a little bit off the wall, if you mind.
Go ahead.
The Jem'Hadar established a colony with Federation support here on this planet, bringing their maturation chambers here to expand. Follow me so far?
Yes.
This assault team comes down, kills everybody, takes the maturation chambers, and leaves. They're visibly avoiding the building to cause any damage to it in order to protect the equipment. My thought is that they came here for that equipment and is, like as you said, getting ready to breed an army and for a attack against another government or maybe even the Federation government and blame it on the Dominion.
I will look at Johnson. Is there anything in the power building that would be dangerous if phaser fire hit it?
Depends on what kind of power. If it's a reactor or something, certainly it can probably destroy the whole settlement. Which would be one reason to avoid it. Also, they probably wanted these, equipment working before they stripped it all. So, having the power source still functioning would have been useful as well. That's my theory on that, Commander.
All the folks said for about the past minute and a half, my sound died again.
Basically, yes, there is the ability that hitting that building could have destroyed the entire settlement.
Yeah, it's probably had some kind of reactor powering or generator powering the settlement, and destroying it would have either caused massive or total destruction of the settlement. Definitely would have destroyed the technology probably in this building or made it useless. So, with them not destroying that, they can verify this equipment here was still working, and then they stripped it and do whatever they intend to do, which theoretically sounds terrible. Can start a whole nother series of wars that were unnecessary. This needs to be brought to attention right away, I'm sure. We should definitely secure this area too.
Right.
Once we take care of the data, of course, but it should be secured as well.
I'm gonna call up to the captain and ask for a small security team to secure some facilities.
Go ahead and roleplay it out.
Right. Commander Rail to the expedition.
Commander, the expedition is unavailable. The Tian An Men is here, though.
Or, sorry, Tian An Men.
No worries. Tian An Men here. What's going on down there, Commander?
It looks like there is some Jem'Hadar breeding facility in one of the buildings that has had most of the core equipment looted. There's also a generator facility which was spared from the worst of the assault. It is my opinion and the opinion of the team here that these facilities likely contain evidence which will shed light on who did this. I'd like some security personnel to secure the facilities.
Granted, Commander. I'll send some security personnel down, and we'll get those facilities completely secure.
Thank you, Captain.
And Commander, you said that the child said that those who did this were wearing Federation uniforms, correct?
Yes.
Starfleet.
Yes.
Is there any other evidence that you can gather for me before I go back to the Admiral with these findings?
We are presently looking for it, Captain. Haven't found anything yet.
All right, let me know.
There is one piece of information, Commander, that could point directly to veterans of the Dominion War having performed this assault.
Go on.
All of the phaser shots were set to kill. Any veteran of the Dominion War would know stun setting did not work on Jem'Hadar, only kill.
It's possible. It's also possible they just wanted to kill everyone anyway. But it is circumstantial evidence.
True. But it is something.
Of course. I will flag that to the captain as well.
It certainly strengthens the case, Commander. Let's see what else we can find. As close as we can get to beyond a shadow of a doubt would be nice. I'm gonna contact. Well, actually, no, wait. I can't even contact the Admiral at this point because, yeah. So Captain will realize that subspace relays are still down. He'll scratch that idea and just ask the commander. Keep investigating, and as you have, let me know if you need anything else.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And will do, Captain.
And Tian An Men out.
Right. So, that being done,
You want us to investigate the power facility? Commander?
yes. Yes. That I do.
Go have a look. Maybe there's some terminal there with a recording or something.
Right?
Yeah, Dagan will help Johnson comb the logs, looking for any, I guess, any records or security systems or anything else.
So as for files, all the computers have been wiped clean.
Of course.
You know, covering tracks and whatnot.
Any look around for any other signs of clues?
Give me
maybe
give me an insight security.
Okay.
Make it a difficulty 3. Oh, and probably at some point around this time, the doctor probably beams in with her cooler.
That's a little bit more than I'm typing to
What's that?
you. Given how much that'd probably be a bit more than that. I'm typing to you to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, I figured you have enough time to get whatever you needed.
It's more than a cooler. It's a backpack and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, Doctor, you're probably beamed just outside their current location, so you're probably just outside the building.
You said difficulty 3?
Yes.
Oh, man, there's no momentum. Oh, bummer. Hate to do this, but I'm going to give you a threat. For a third eye. And
Oh no.
Well,
well, at least I didn't fail any of those. Critical fail. Some problem with having low scores.
Alrighty. Yeah, you don't. Good.
Yeah. Might have to use determination or something. Reroll it. I'll try to. I don't have any milestones in this character, really. Oh, yeah. This character hasn't been played very, very often.
I mean, you could use it to reroll if you have a value that fits.
The price of peace is vigilance.
Maybe mission directive, probably more. So,
Okay.
because you're investigating the.
Yeah, I have 2 engineering ones and 2 security ones. Yeah, that's a mission directive. No whammies. No.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't find anything.
Yeah, well.
So while you are investigating, the reactor room around the birthing pods, the doctor, you said you're heading to the cave with all your goodies.
Yes, heading to the cave and just gonna get to the foot of the cave. Pull up the portable.
As you're walking closer, you could hear the crying of a infant. And you could hear multiple voices basically saying, come on, you got to eat this. As you know, it is just loud infant crying.
She walks towards the crying.
As you walk further into the cave, you eventually make your way to a group of 6 Jem'Hadar children. 2 females, 3 males, and then the infant of various ages, probably ranging from the one you encountered earlier is probably around 9, what you would consider 9. And the rest are, younger. With obviously the infant crying.
I'm not here to harm you.
And obviously the one that you encounter says, "Stay away from us." And she grabs for a weapon, one of the dagger types.
Look, I'm unarmed. I am at your mercy, but I brought food. And if you could let me look at the baby here, and I'll see what I can do for her. Or him.
Why should I trust you? You've caused us nothing but pain.
I'm not those people that came and did this to you.
Give me a presence command. Just diff 2.
Well, no focus.
Probably not this time.
No, I don't have persuasion, so the prax thing. There is no momentum either. Will you take a determination spin? The mind can heal just as well as a scalpel. Trying to ease them, trying to help them, through
Sure.
conversation and emotional
Logic.
support.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'm rolling flat.
Hey, game 2. One of the other children turns to the oldest one and says, "If there's anything they can do to help, we got to try." Fine, but I'm watching you.
I'm gonna set my bag down. She opens it up and it's full of food. Actually, I have a portable stove here with a pot. I thought I would make a stew. Assuming I only thought there was one of them, but I'm sure I can procure more. But if you don't mind, I'm just gonna pull out my tricorder here and take a scan. And she'll take a scan of the infant.
Reason or insight medicine. Difficulty 2.
Xenobiology for a focus?
Yep.
I'm going to spend a momentum. Let's fish. Good fish.
Fish successful, gain 3. All right, as you start examining the child, the thing that strikes you the most is that this child does not appear to have been birthed from a pod, but through a natural birth. However, the child is very malnourished and malnourished, dehydrated. It's probably has exposure to the elements. The kids are trying their best to take care of it, but they don't know what they're doing. They're kids themselves,
I don't have proper nourishment for the infant, but if I, is the infant male or female?
Do you like high or low?
Low.
Low for what? That's
I don't. It doesn't matter. Just roll like 50-50. So
right. Low male, high female. It would be a male.
I need to take him back to my ship to get him the proper nutrients that he needs. Or he will die.
Give me presence medicine.
Ooh.
Difficulty 3. Comp 2.
I'm going to spend 3 of the momentum. Roll on a 0. One of them. With cautious. So 3.
So the oldest one heads off in tears. And then the next oldest one says, "Do what you can, please."
You're all welcome to come up to the ship with me. You don't have to remain here.
Then the oldest one just yells, "Just go!"
I'll be back. And she takes the infant and doctor to Tian An Men. Doctor to Tian An Men.
Did everyone just say they're going to be right back?
They did. I'm just gonna say, one carrying an infant directly to sickbay.
That means I got to get a sick bay set up. That looks like a random sick bay.
First things first, considering it's malnourished, probably going to do a vitamin shot, essentially.
All right. I won't make you roll for that. That seems pretty easy.
And then figure out what baby formula will work for the infant.
All right. This will be an insight reason. I'll just make this a diff 1.
Medicine or?
Yeah, medicine, sorry.
You know what? I'm going to spend that momentum. Will you take xenobiology or?
Yeah.
See if I can get some. Rerolling the comp.
Gain 2. And yeah, you believe you find like a combination of various different milk substances that could be used.
Yeah, and start feeding the infant.
And at this point, we'll probably say the captain comes in. Oh, Captain, what you mixed was the doctor requesting transport for herself and an infant directly to the sick bay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the captain will briskly walk in. Uh, Doctor, is the infant okay?
He will make a full recovery.
Uh, Good work. DeGrasse will look at the baby. It's a Jim Hadar, right?
Yes, sir.
Although it looks more human because that's how Jem'Hadar babies appear.
Uh, uh, so I'm assuming you found other survivors.
Yes, a whole group of children. Apparently, they've taken refuge in the nearby cave. I did leave some food for them. Um, but the infant cannot go back with them.
And I assume they weren't okay with coming up here to the ship.
They were not okay with coming up on the ship, but they did allow me to take the infant.
Sounds like they're open to reason then. Does the rest of the away team know that there are children that you encountered?
No, it seemed appropriate to take care of the infant quickly as possible. Did I get a chance to inform Commander Rel?
Okay, I'll see to that.
They're scared and afraid, Captain.
Do you think they're dangerous, Doctor?
Anyone could be dangerous. They've survived for 6 months without a caregiver. I would restrain from any hostile reactions. They do not trust us. Probably witnessed their entire family from entire family being wiped out. And just so you know, this little guy here, oh, let's just say the Jeminar have found new ways of procreating.
He'll arch his eyebrow at that one. Well, Doctor, I guess it goes without saying. I do your work, and if there's anything that you can learn about, well, this child, let's make sure to record it. I know Starfleet would be very interested in learning anything they can. All right, well, yes, Doctor?
Nothing. So I will record everything appropriate. I just have a feeling Starfleet already knows about it.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, Doctor. I think I would agree. You'll excuse me, and he'll turn and begin walking out, and then he'll tap his comm badge.
Where's the chip? There it is. Nope, that's not it. What was it?
That sounded like it. Tian An Men to Commander Rel. Commander Rel, do you copy?
The player's still AFK.
Not AFK, just on mute, sorry. Go ahead, Tian An Men.
Commander, I just had a conversation with the doctor up here in sickbay. Seems that she encountered a small group of Jem'Hadar on the surface. Children, really. She brought an infant Jem'Hadar that needed care up to the ship. She's tending to it right now. I believe that these Jem'Hadar on the surface were located near cave complex. I just wanted to make you aware.
Thank you, Captain.
Let me know if you need anything. Tian An Men out. He'll continue back up to the bridge.
With some survivors over at the cave system. That's good. Were you able to, or are you two done investigating the computers and facility here?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything, Commander. It looks like it's been wiped clean.
Right. Is there any physical evidence around the area that we could look for? No, the computers have been wiped clean, but maybe
Yeah,
the.
I couldn't find anything, Captain.
All right. I will look over at Dagon and ask her to run scans for, trace genetic information or anything like that that could be left behind.
Certainly, Commander. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, GM. So Dagan will run scans for trace genetic material. Since it was a struggle, like a violent fight, maybe there's blood or something like that around.
All right. This is obviously going to be very difficult because we got to keep in mind that roughly 6 months have passed since the incident happened. So
Sure.
I'm going to make this a difficulty 5, complication 3. I should probably tell you what the roll is. I'll go either reason or insight with either science or medicine.
Okay. Reason science in that case. So it doesn't look like she can re-roll. Take a momentum for 3 dice.
I
Stiff
probably
5.
can't be of any assistance.
Stiff 5.
Uh,
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
step 5. Can a support character, can they use determination? I didn't think so.
If they have it, like if they have a value.
It looks like they have technical expertise.
That would not be a value.
So
I think I put that in the wrong field.
oh, okay. So yeah, I see. Under talents as well. I'll just remove that out. Oh, can't edit. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, 2 threats for 4 dice, and yeah, I don't think I want to get to 5. That's probably escalating way too much. So, we'll give it a shot. And no reroll, so
So it stands.
it stands.
Yeah, you don't find any DNA, any hard evidence, anything like that.
Commander, it looks like it's been a little too long since the event. I'm not really able to find anything.
All right. It was a long shot. It's unfortunate, but there we go.
If I may, Commander, has anyone performed a scan on the weapons discharge, the energy patterns themselves? Again, it's been 6 months since the event, but if we're able to detect small arms fire from orbit, we might be able to detect the origin of the fire on the surface. Maybe we can pin it down to Starfleet phasers.
Great idea. Run the scans.
So it'll be insight with either insight or reason with with engineering or security.
Okay. Difficulty,
2.
complication, just one for complication range.
Yeah.
I have focus, shipboard, and hand phasers.
I'll probably take hand phasers here.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnson, you might want to lead this one if possible. So
Yeah, I'd like to spend momentum for a third die with cautious security. I at least re-roll it. Anthony. I'll re-roll one of them. Oh,
Oh my god.
I'll assist.
I quit. I just quit.
Or can anyone assist?
All right, you gain 1, but there are 2 complications.
Oh dear.
So what I can give you, these are definitely Federation style phaser weapons that were used. And with all the complications, that's all I could give you. Did that come through?
I think so. You said they're Starfleet style phasers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Dagan will relay that to the commander. Commander, we weren't able to pick up much, but it does look like they might be Starfleet style phasers. Can't determine much else though.
I suppose it would be sloppy of whoever did this attack to. Well, assuming they were impersonating and not actual Starfleet, it'd be awfully sloppy of them to impersonate Starfleet without copying our weapons. Although, if they are Starfleet, that's even more troubling. thought, would it be possible to do a physical investigation of the equipment that was scavenged previously?
What are you looking for?
Like tooling marks or anything like that that might tip us off as to who did this.
Right, I'll give you a roll. It's gonna be a difficulty 4.
Oof.
It's probably gonna be insight or reason engineering.
All right.
Non-container. uh, difficulty 4, you say?
Yep.
Yeah. No momentum or either.
Did anyone catch that?
Nope.
Nope, Krim, you roboted badly.
Would I assist with a 4 engineering?
Probably.
Yeah, I have a 4.
Who has the highest modifier overall for the roll?
My
Whoops.
reason's only a 9. Let's see.
The role is it reason engineering?
Reason or insight?
Yeah.
I have 14. So
I have 13. So, I'm right here in the whole thing. Yeah. It's not my name.
RNG hates us.
So is Dagon rolling?
Yeah,
Okay.
you've
What?
got the best score.
Gotcha. What's the difficulty?
4.
Or
Because no one made one.
It's 4. Okay. No momentum. All right.
Sadly, no.
Uh,
Well, shouldn't we have one from the previous roll?
yeah.
well, not
There's
anymore.
a momentum.
We don't have that anymore because I'm using it for an extra die. Okay. And do I give him 2 extra threat for this?
Could give me all the threats.
I could.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Jan, take 2 threats.
I'll allow 2 assists for this.
I think we already burned those. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm rolling nothing.
Yeah. Goose egg, sadly.
Oh, this is just a horrible name. Horrible name.
I mean, it makes for more interesting. Is that definitely makes it seem like they've covered their tracks. Does this result stand?
Yeah, I think so. She doesn't have any values, challenge, or good determination. So
Right. Yeah. You can't find any signs or physical evidence of who or what removed these.
sorry, Commander. I'm not finding anything. I guess it's just been too long since the massacre took place.
The only other thing I can think of to try to do is to canvass the outlying areas, see if we can find any staging grounds for the attack or anything.
Wasn't that already covered?
Yeah, I think so. Just to make it easier, you don't really find anything there either. Because you had that insight security role, so you kind of know that they beamed in overwhelming firepower from one end to the other.
Right, well, I'm out of ideas. Anyone else?
To attempt to reach out to the survivors and see if
Yep.
anyone can get, like, talk to us about or get some drawings or something of who did this terrible deed. I know
Probably a good idea.
was the child we met earlier, was that an older child? It might be the one that's protecting them, since they had a hook.
I would say if we can get the doctor back down here, she was able to establish some degree of rapport. I think if we go bearing weapons, we will only terrify them more.
Yeah, it might just. The supplies are already here, right? The food? Unless you can just leave it there and see if that is a start for,
She cooked food for them already.
okay.
Not that we know that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, the final thing we got to do is just figure out what's going on with the kids, and then that's probably it. Because there's probably no more information to be found around this stuff, because you failed all the roles, unfortunately.
Yep. Sadly. I will call up to the captain.
Tian An Men, Commander, do you have any news for me?
Fortunately, it seems too much time has passed for any physical or digital evidence to be retrieved, Captain. We would like if the doctor can assist us, as she was able to establish a rapport with the survivors. We'd like to interview the survivors for witness testimony. And if possible, we'd like to set them up in a way where they are not basically living off the land. Maybe we could get them a civilian replicator or something that they could use to survive better here if they want to stay here. Or we could transport them somewhere else if they prefer to leave.
Well, I'll get in contact with the doctor and make sure she can help out. And yeah, if at all possible, let's see what we can try to do to get them back up to the ship. Even with a replicator and good survival skills, it's probably pretty dicey down there for just a few children. But if they're insistent on not joining us, I don't think we should force them. All right, Commander, stand by. I'll send the doctor down shortly.
Hi, Captain.
Tian An Men out. DeGrasse taps, I guess, the communicator on his chair. Actually, he'll use that one.
Oh yeah, it worked.
Bridge to sickbay.
Sick bay.
Doctor, the commander has requested your presence on the surface. It seems like they've come up a bit short on their investigation, and they're hoping that hoping that a conversation with the children that you encountered might shed some more light on the situation. Are you available at all?
While I'll beam down with the infant is going to should remain in our care. I While they've listened to me a little bit, I think a word of a starship captain might carry a little bit more weight than mine.
Well, you've convinced me. I'll meet you in the transporter room shortly. Bridge out. All right. Well, I think it's Orgel is the ranking character, I think. Let's see here. They're both ensigns. I don't know. I've known Orgel longer. Orgel, you take the con, and I'll hopefully be back shortly.
Aye, sir.
Ross will get up and meet the doctor in the transporter room.
All right, unless there's any role play you want to do before we head down, I'll just send you down there for time's sake.
Nothing on my side.
No.
All right, yeah, we'll put both of you beamed down just outside the.
Ross will just survey the damage, and I'm assuming still some bodies out there.
Yeah.
This was quite the massacre, huh? He'll say as he walks up.
Yes,
sorry, who-
Captain. Sorry?
Oh, don't mind me. Didn't know who he's talking to at the moment.
I hope to God this wasn't us.
Me too, Captain.
Just bothers me that the Admiral wasn't very forthcoming with information or reason why we were sent out here, and all record of the Narendra colony was completely confidential. And then we find this, and he motions to bodies on the ground.
This looks like a nightmare, Captain.
Indeed, it does. So the circumstantial evidence points to Starfleet.
Yes. We couldn't
Does-
find anything further.
Okay. Well, Cassie, if you would join me and show the way to the children.
Yeah, the doctor will lead the captain to the children in the cave. Assuming they're still there.
So who's going? Just a doctor or captain?
Sure.
All right, yeah, you make your way back and enter the cave, and you see the 5 remaining children trying to use the stove pot that Prax brought, or sorry, that the doctor brought.
He'll just at a loud enough volume, but as soft as he can, just say, "Are you having any luck?"
And the oldest one will just kind of slam a pot. No, it won't work.
Well, it's been a while since I've used one of these, but he'll walk over. Yeah, and he'll light it himself. He'll just say, "Yeah, so this is how you light it. I know they can be a little tricky. They can be a bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it starts getting much, much easier."
What is it you want from us?
I want to know what you saw. I know you've been out here for a while. I know what happened was horrifying. Can you tell me what you saw on the day it happened?
We saw people like you kill everyone.
Like me, and he'll motion to his face. In the face, and he'll motion to his uniform. Like in the clothes we're wearing.
I saw several with those spots. Others like her. But not like her.
How do you mean not like her?
looked different.
How many were there?
Too many.
They try to speak with you? Did they ask anything?
They just shoot. And they kill.
Were you able to take any down? Were any hit?
I don't know.
Do you know of any other survivors?
Everyone's dead but us.
He'll bend over. If you're willing to trust me, and trust me, I know that that's going to take a lot after what you've seen. You'll be safe on my ship. You'll have food. You'll have shelter. And he'll look at the rest of them. All of you. And the baby, too.
The baby lives.
He'll look to the doctor.
She's actually holding the infant, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Um,
In
he'll-
that case, then. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Prex.
he will be just fine. And she's like kind of trying to, I guess, burp him. She just probably ate.
Give me a presence command difficulty 3. From you, Captain.
Okay. Presence commands. Been a while since I've opened this character up. Persuasion for focus.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, take 3 big old threat. 4 dice. Actually, I mean, could I spend my determination on spirited debate is good debate?
I don't know if you're debating here.
Yeah, knew that was a stretch. I don't suppose mission directive would apply here.
I think it would.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to spend my determination on that.
I'm sure there's a Starfleet regulation for this situation.
Yeah.
Don't leave children to die to the elements.
Don't kill kids unintentionally. Okay, so that's what, 1 difficulty now? So
What?
it was 3 difficulty, right?
Yeah, and then you got 2 automatic successes with the value.
Yeah. So I just need to hit 1. Okay. So take threats.
And it's
And-
5 successes, gain 2,
Yeah, I'll just re-roll that one.
gain 3. I suppose I have no choice but to trust you.
Well, let me be the first to say that you always do have a choice. Never feel like you don't. But I would be honored to have you as guests aboard my ship. Well, I suppose that you all can take anything that you need here. Or if there's anything back from where you lived, I can have my crew fetch it, and we can bring it up to the ship with us.
we don't have much.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you come with me, we can step out of the cave and we can make way to my ship.
All right, yeah, you do all that. You get them transported up. I think for the final scene, I'll just go to the briefing room so you guys can discuss the current situation, and then we'll end it after that.
So let's talk this through. Let's try to reconstruct what we think might have happened. All of the evidence leads, seemingly, to a Starfleet attack on a Jem'Hadar colony. Not to say that of course, someone could not have made it seem like an attack from Starfleet, but what's the prevailing theory?
Well, it looks like it was a colony set up by the Federation, since the buildings and facilities are all Federation made and not of their own. So, which would probably explain the classified security level. We know that Federation technology was possibly used to massacre them. They avoided the power facility and the other chamber, and then they stripped the other chamber of them of their maceration technology.
So my thinking is, and I'd love to hear yours. If the Federation founded this colony, presumably Jem'Hadar came there at the knowledge of those in Starfleet or Federation. It wouldn't make any sense to then attack it if they built it.
Yeah, it means either somebody found out something and wants to, someone has some beef. Probably having to do with the resistance or the war. That's what some of us were discussing on the planet.
True. Commander, what are your thoughts?
To be honest with you, Captain, I am unsure what to think. I don't think we've got enough evidence to make a firm conclusion one way or the other. I would be suspicious of Starfleet, but I certainly don't think we'd have enough to prove anything at this stage. If the survivors can give a description, perhaps we can run it against known criminals in the Federation. It's a long shot, but it might work.
That's
Beyond
true.
that, I'm not sure what to think. Unless, are there any terrorist groups that have access to Starfleet equipment and machinery and uniforms? Maybe a fringe group within the Federation?
Well, unfortunately, Starfleet would not be. It would not be unknown for Starfleet to have groups like this. We're not immune to factionalism as an organization.
I mean, even the Klingons had factions in our society as well, so they've done similar horrendous things. So, can't can Federation phasers be replicated?
Good question, actually. I'm not sure. Lieutenant Allen, what's your estimate on what size of a force would be needed to do what you witnessed down on the planet's surface? Alan is the silent type, I see. Well, I think that is one thing that we would want to determine eventually. The children did say that there were many attackers, but it becomes harder and harder if you're a faction or a terrorist force. Put together a large party capable of doing this.
I'm gonna be honest, Captain. How did they even know that this colony was here? It's not like this was printed in records, was it?
None that I could access. So it appears that we're either left with what might be an official Starfleet action sanctioned by those high up, or on the other side, a rogue faction within Starfleet that may also have help from high up. To your point, Doc, I don't see anyone else besides maybe the Admiralty or above who might have knowledge of this colony or what was going on the surface.
I mean, from my medical scans, Captain, these Gemini are very different from your typical Gemini. They age about half the rates that normal Geminis do. They have at least twice as long as the lifespan now, and potentially in future generations, they could potentially live as long as you or I or any other humanoid species.
Do we think they've been genetically manipulated?
Well, from my understanding, the Dominion saw to the genetic manipulation of the Gemini's could be the unraveling of some of that. It's purely speculation, though, Captain. But in either case, only 6 of them is not enough to repopulate this subspecies of the Gemidar.
interesting nonetheless, Doctor. We're witnessing the Jem'Hadar go from being elite shock troops to capable of sustaining their own civilization, their own colony. All right, well, I believe the science officer mentioned that it may be 48 total hours until the solar flare activity died down enough that we could establish a subspace link with the fleet. So that may be the next step. Might have to make a call to the Admiralty.
I am hesitant to raise this concern, Captain, but I will. Is it possible to... Do you have anyone in the senior Admiralty that you trust to have good intentions? It might be in our interest to cover up the fact that there were survivors for the time being. If whoever did this finds out that there are survivors, they might want to eliminate witnesses.
I admire your tactical mind as always, Commander. The thought hadn't occurred to me. I'll think about it. There might be a few that I trust. And might be a few captains on other ships that I trust as well. But I hear you. He'll look around the room. Let's make sure to keep mum about this, and to the commander's point, let's not mention the surviving children. Let's hold off on filing any logs as well, till we know a little bit more about what we're dealing with.
Aye, Captain.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Dismissed. Let's get back to work. And yeah, I guess DeGrasse will take the lead and stand up and go back to the bridge.
All right. One final thing. This is probably just going to be for narration's sake. But at the end of this episode, the expedition will arrive at Deep Space 17. And, to drop off the councilman and the admiral. Because we are at 11 o'clock. So yeah, so for you guys, so for the expedition for next week, they have just dropped off the admiral, councilman at 17, said their goodbyes, yada yada yada. So yeah, I think with that we'll call that the end of Ghost.